Welcome back to Fact Weebs and Dark Deeds, where we tell you facts, true crimes, mysteries, and more. Make sure to follow us and hit that like button. Pull up a chair, get comfortable. I have a story to tell you.
You ever wonder how some people just disappear their money? Carlos did, and for a while, it worked until one pissed-off employee decided to talk. Carlos Mendez was a hardworking immigrant from Honduras, grinding 60-hour weeks at a New Jersey auto repair shop owned by a slick, gray-haired hustler named Eddie Kovac. Eddie wasn't just a mechanic. He was a guy who knew how to move money in ways the IRS wouldn't see. When Carlos's wife filed for divorce, Eddie saw an opportunity. You don't want her taking half your sweat, do you? Eddie smirked. I can pay you cash. No paper trail. Desperate to protect what little he had, Carlos agreed. For 2 years, Carlos worked under the table, his pay stashed in Eddie's safe instead of a bank. His ex-wife's lawyers couldn't touch it officially. He was barely making minimum wage. The divorce finalized, and Carlos, relieved, finally collected his hidden earnings $42,000 in crisp hundreds and took a month-long trip back home to Honduras. But Eddie had other shady deals going, skimming profits, dodging taxes, and shortchanging workers. One of them, a bitter ex-mechanic named Ray, got fired after arguing over stolen wages. Ray knew too much. You think you're smart? Ray muttered on his way out. We'll see. He called the State Labor Board. Then the IRS. Then immigration. Detectives showed up with a warrant. Eddie's books were a mess of fake invoices and ghost employees. Carlos's name was all over them, just not in any legal way. When they tracked Carlos down, he had no pay stubs, no tax filings, just a wad of cash and a soon-to-be-revoked work visa. The business was seized. He plea bargained, rolling on bigger fish to avoid jail time. Carlos, however, had no leverage. No legal income meant no visa. His green card application was denied, and with a deportation order looming, he had one last phone call with Eddie. You screwed me, Carlos hissed. You screwed yourself, Eddie replied. Should have kept better records. Carlos was put on a plane back to Tegucigalpa, his American dream shredded. Eddie's shop became a cautionary tale in local business circles until he reopened under his brother's name 6 months later. And somewhere in Honduras, Carlos stared at his dwindling cash pile, wondering if it was ever worth it. Carlos thought losing his visa was the worst that could happen. Then Eddie's ledger ended up in the wrong hands, and suddenly, deportation was the least of his problems. Back in Honduras, Carlos tried to rebuild. But $42,000 didn't last long. Relatives begged for loans. Cops shook him down, and his old contacts eyed him like a walking ATM. Meanwhile, Eddie's new shop was thriving until the ledger surfaced. A worn, grease-stained note